The cameras flashed, the crowd froze. And just like that, television had a massive, terrifying new obsession.
Yeah, it's a completely shocking story.
We are looking at a headline today that just stops you in your tracks. It literally reads, "Married at First Sight contestants say they were raped by their TV husbands."
It's chilling.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today's deep dive is, well, it's incredibly heavy. We are looking at the dark intersection of entertainment, duty of care, and, real psychological impact.
Right. Our mission today is to unpack the explosive allegations that brought down a reality TV giant. Channel 4 recently scrubbed all past seasons of Married at First Sight UK from its streaming and social platforms.
Completely wiped from existence, which is a drastic move, right? Because this is a show that regularly pulled in over 3 million viewers.
Oh, easily. It was massive. But we're going to explore what happens when the pursuit of drama violently collides with real-life trauma.
Exactly. And to do that, we're drawing from a really comprehensive stack of materials. We're looking at a BBC Panorama investigation called The Dark Side of Married at First Sight.
Which is eye-opening.
Oh, totally. We also have official statements from Channel 4 and the production company CPL. Plus, we've got industry insights from a background screening company called ScreenCheck and some really intense academic evidence submitted to the UK Parliament.
And we are also looking at the raw, unfiltered public reactions from viewers on Reddit because the audience is not staying quiet about this.
No, they're not. But to start, we really need to look at the catalyst, the specific harrowing allegations that forced the network's hand and just shattered the whole illusion of this romantic experiment.
Right. And before we get into the details of the Panorama investigation, we need to clearly and impartially state that all the accused men strongly deny these allegations. They maintain that all the relationships and interactions on the show were entirely consensual.
That's right. They vehemently deny any wrongdoing. But the documentary featured 3 women who came forward with severe allegations against their on-screen husbands.
Let's start with the account of a woman referred to as Lizzie, which they changed her name to protect her identity.
Yeah, Lizzie's account it's really difficult to hear. She alleged her partner raped her, and she claimed he repeatedly bruised her during filming.
And the part that is just, it's a massive institutional failure, is how the production allegedly handled it. She claimed that welfare staff actually photographed her bruises.
Right, they documented it.
But the production company's lawyers dismissed the injuries. They actually claimed it was the result of, quote, consensual rough sex.
Which is just, wow. And it highlights this alleged environment of intense coercion. Lizzie also claimed her partner threatened her with an acid attack if she spoke out.
Wait, an acid attack?
Yeah. And she recounted this specific incident where she repeatedly said no to sex, and he allegedly told her, "You can't say no, you're my wife."
That is, that's horrifying. You have this isolated environment where the lines between a TV format and real-world autonomy are just entirely blurred.
Exactly, and it wasn't just physical intimidation. Unlike Lizzie, another participant actually used her real name in the documentary, Shona Manderson.
Right, from the 2023 season.
Yeah, she was matched with a man named Bradley Skelly. Shona alleged that her partner ignored their agreed-upon contraceptive boundaries and ejaculated inside her without consent.
Which has devastating consequences.
Totally. She stated she had to get emergency contraception, later discovered she was pregnant, and ended up having an abortion. Now, Skelly's lawyers categorically deny any sexual misconduct or controlling behavior.
It's just a terrifying disconnect. And then there's the third account from a woman referred to as Chloe.
Right. Chloe alleged she woke up to non-consensual touching and later experienced a situation where her partner just totally ignored her explicit refusal for sex.
And she actually tried to warn the network, right?
She did. She claimed she was so devastated that she explicitly told the network and the producers about the alleged rape before the show ever aired. But they broadcast her episodes anyway.
I can't even imagine. She said watching that broadcast later made her feel suicidal.
It's incredibly bleak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, CPL's lawyers have fiercely defended their protocols, insisting their welfare system is the, quote, gold standard.
See that phrase, gold standard? It drives me crazy. Think about it like building a pressure cooker, right?
Okay.
You build this cooker, you turn the heat to the absolute maximum, and then the producers act totally shocked when the lid blows off.
Yeah, exactly.
If these protocols are truly the gold standard of the television industry, how is there such a massive, terrifying disconnect between what the producers claim was happening, and the trauma these women are actually reporting.
Well, you can see the panic over that exact disconnect in the corporate reaction. I mean, Channel 4's new CEO, Priya Dogra, immediately launched an external review.
They had to.
Yeah, they brought in a major law firm, Clyde & Co., to investigate, along with the former BBC One controller, Lorraine Huggessy.
And if you're loving these Hollywood twists and industry shakeups, make sure you're subscribed because we've got even crazier stories ahead. But honestly, Jamie, to understand how a massive disconnect like this happens, we need to look under the hood of reality TV production itself.
We do. We need to look at the systemic flaws in how these shows actually cast and manage people.
Right, and this is where that academic evidence submitted to the UK Parliament comes in. The experts, Dr. Janet Harris and Dr. Damian Carney, they talk about something called the dual paradox of casting.
Yeah, the dual paradox. It's fascinating, but terrifying.
I understand what a paradox is in theory, but how on earth does that apply to casting a dating show?
So think about it like this. The shows hire psychologists to screen potential contestants, right? The ostensible goal is to filter out people who are mentally unfit for a highly stressful national broadcast. But simultaneously, the producers desperately want to cast individuals who are volatile, unpredictable, and prone to conflict because, conflict is the currency of reality TV.
Wait, so they want them unstable. That's incredibly dangerous. It's like hiring a lifeguard, but telling them their end-of-year bonus depends entirely on how close the swimmers get to actually drowning.
That is the perfect analogy. You are structurally incentivizing danger.
So are the networks willfully ignoring red flags during background checks? Because a red flag in the real world is exactly what translates to ratings gold on television?
That is precisely what Harris and Carney are warning the UK Parliament about. And to put the stakes of this paradox into perspective, their report cites a staggering statistic. Since 1986, there have been at least 38 suspected suicides linked to reality TV participants worldwide.
38? Wow.
We aren't just talking about bad edits or bruised egos. We are talking about fatal psychological impact. And that's not even the wildest part, because the academics break down how the psychological support fails at almost every stage.
Right. They list 4 stages: selection, preparation, in-program support, and aftercare.
Exactly. And in the preparation phase, producers routinely withhold critical information from participants just for, quote, entertainment value.
Like what? What are they withholding?
Well, the report cites the show The Circle, where contestants are catfished. The producers orchestrate this deception, but keep the participants totally in the dark.
I mean, I guess that's the whole point of that specific show, but I see the ethical issue.
Right. Harris and Carney argue that this fundamentally violates genuine informed consent. You can't psychologically prepare someone for an environment when you are actively lying to them about what that environment is.
That makes total sense. And then you move into the in-program phase. Professor Helen Wood, who was in the Panorama documentary, had a really profound assessment of this.
She did. She called the MAFS UK production environment a dangerous and unnatural bubble.
Because it forces extreme intimacy on an accelerated timeline. You take 2 strangers, throw them in a shared apartment, a shared bed, and tell them, hey, you're on a honeymoon.
Exactly. Intimacy is just assumed. And meanwhile, your normal real-world support systems, like your friends, your family, your actual therapist, they are totally cut off. You are completely dependent on the production's welfare team.
Which circles right back to Lizzie, Chloe, and Shona. When they allegedly went to that welfare team, they felt their distress was minimized. But wait, I still struggle with the timeline here.
What do you mean?
Even with this dual paradox, wouldn't a basic background check catch some of these highly volatile personalities or people with an actual history of abusive behavior before they ever make it to the altar?
You would think so. But the vetting timeline in reality television is remarkably compressed. We looked at data from ScreenCheck, which is a background screening company for the entertainment industry.
Right.
And they point out that a thorough vetting requires deep swoops, civil litigation, criminal records, extensive social media audits. But reality shows often only have a week, or sometimes less, between final casting and the start of production.
A week? Wait, really? You're trusting a stranger to marry another stranger on national television, and the network is vetting their entire life history in a week?
Yeah, just 7 days. Corners are inevitably cut. Productions often just settle for surface-level database searches.
That is wild.
And the fallout is quantifiable. ScreenCheck cited a variety of reports showing that lawsuits and public backlash against reality shows over unvetted talent have spiked 40% in just the last 5 years.
A 40% spike. I mean, the cracks in the foundation are getting impossible to ignore. And if you've ever sat on your couch and thought, why are the producers letting this happen? You are not alone.
No, definitely not.
Because the manipulation isn't just felt by the isolated participants. The audience at home is actively recognizing these toxic patterns, and they are turning their outrage toward the people on screen, validating the behavior.
Yeah, the public outcry here is huge. Historically, audiences just passively consumed the drama, right? But the RMAFS UK Reddit community shows this incredible coordinated outrage.
It's not just angry tweets.
No, they are actively drafting, sharing, and submitting formal complaints to Ofcom, the UK's communications regulator.
I actually have a piece of a draft complaint that a user posted to the subreddit, encouraging others to send it in. It focuses on a contestant named Alex Henry.
Oh, right. Read that, because it's telling.
It says, quote, Alex has exhibited threatening and controlling behavior throughout the series. Alarmingly, there are known domestic abuse allegations against him, which previously led another show on the same channel to refuse him as a contestant.
So the viewers themselves uncovered that he had known domestic abuse allegations serious enough to get him banned from a different show on Channel 4.
Yet he was still cast on Married at First Sight UK. It goes right back to that one-week vetting window, or, maybe the dual paradox.
Right. Did the network know and cast him anyway because a volatile past guarantees screen time?
Exactly. And the Reddit complaint points the finger directly at the show's on-screen experts, Mel Schilling, Paul C. Brunson, and Charlene Douglas.
What do they say about the experts?
The viewers wrote, where is their duty of care in this situation? Over several weeks, we have observed them normalizing and excusing Alex's behavior rather than addressing it.
See, the audience is dismantling the format's central illusion. The experts are presented as these wise, stabilizing forces brought in to offer deep psychological insight.
Right.
But Redditors are calling them out for providing a false sense of authority. One user even called them performing monkeys, arguing that their dialogue is heavily influenced by production to maximize drama.
It's incredibly sinister when you frame it like that. I mean, they are essentially referees in a boxing match, except the audience is slowly realizing that the referees are the ones slipping brass knuckles into the fighters' gloves.
Wow, that's exactly what it feels like. And high-profile legal figures are echoing that sentiment. Baroness Helena Kennedy Casey, she called the format of MAFS UK, quote, televised abuse.
Televised abuse. That is a heavy label for a primetime entertainment show.
She even openly questioned whether the show should be allowed to remain on the air at all.
And later in the episode, we'll talk about the ethical twist nobody saw coming. But first, that label televised abuse ties perfectly into the academic breakdown provided by Gel Mass.
Yes, in the International Journal of Communication. He outlines 4 specific ethical concerns that are basically baked into the DNA of reality television.
Right. Intrusion, false light, humiliation, and appropriation. Let's break those down because they perfectly describe the mechanics of this show.
Let's do it. So, intrusion is the infringement on someone's emotional inner world. The format demands that participants share their deepest traumas and insecurities for the camera, often pushing them to breaking points to capture that raw emotion.
Okay, intrusion makes sense. But what exactly does false light mean in a reality TV context? I mean, they are on camera saying the words they're saying. How is the light false?
It's all about the edit. False light is the misrepresentation of a person through editing. A production team can film a couple for 72 hours straight, right?
Yeah.
In the editing bay, they can take a totally innocent reaction, like someone sighing just because they're tired, and stitch it together with a heated comment made 3 days later.
Oh, wow.
They construct a narrative arc that might depict someone as completely unhinged. The person on screen looks like the participant, but the context is entirely fabricated.
So they're basically creating a character out of real footage, which leads right into humiliation. Mass defines humiliation as an act of disempowerment by a more powerful inflictor.
And in this case, the producers hold all the power.
Right. Think about the commitment ceremonies on the show. If one person writes leave because they feel emotionally battered, but the other person writes stay, the rules force them to remain in the experiment for another week.
It's forced proximity.
The format literally uses the disempowerment of the victim as a core entertainment mechanism.
And finally, there's appropriation.
Yeah.
This is the network owning the participant's public persona. They exploit their underpaid labor and commodify their lived experiences, their tears, their trauma, to generate massive advertising revenue.
When you lay out Mask's 4 concepts alongside the specific allegations of rape and the Ofcom complaints, It just paints a picture of an industry operating completely unchecked.
It really does.
But, and I think we have to look in the mirror here for a second, Jamie, how much of this ecosystem exists because we demand it?
That's the tough question, isn't it?
If fans didn't devour the drama, if we didn't tune in by the millions to watch the screaming matches, the networks wouldn't manufacture it. Are we, as the audience, complicit in demanding this level of psychological warfare?
Well, the networks supply it because historical data proves we demand it. But I think this Reddit mobilization and the impact of the Panorama documentary show, we might be reaching a tipping point.
You think the audience is finally drawing a line?
I do. When viewers hear stories of suicidal ideation and see this systemic failure to protect women, they are saying, we didn't sign up to watch this.
Yeah, reading the Reddit threads, there is a palpable sense of guilt mixed with anger. One user pointed out how dangerous it is to broadcast this behavior unchecked. Because if you see an expert on TV excusing a man's volatile tantrums as just communication issues, you might excuse that same behavior in your own living room.
Which is exactly why Harris and Carney stress the absolute necessity of independent, empowered psychological support on set. A psychologist who could pull the plug on a storyline immediately without being overruled by a producer worried about ratings.
Exactly. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Because as we wrap this up, we need to recap the journey we've just been on.
We started with the unprecedented move by Channel 4 to wipe MAFS UK from existence following horrific allegations from 3 women.
Right, Lizzie, Chloe, and Shona detailing alleged rape, non-consensual acts, and severe emotional abuse allegations the men, again, strongly deny.
And from those accounts, we examined the systemic machinery, the dual paradox, where shows screen for emotional volatility despite the history of 38 suspected suicides.
And the absurd one-week background check window that lets dangerous red flags slip through, causing a 40% spike in industry lawsuits.
And finally, we explored the massive public outcry. Audiences actively filing Ofcom complaints and calling out the experts for validating what legal minds are calling televised abuse.
This matters to you, the listener, because the media you choose to consume inevitably shapes the societal norms we all live by. Understanding these hidden mechanics, the rushed vetting, the deceptive editing, equips you to spot the difference between harmless entertainment and real-world exploitation.
It absolutely changes how you view consent and toxic behaviors, not just on a screen, but in your own life and the media you support.
Exactly. When you realize the lifeguard is getting a bonus for letting people drown, you stop swimming in that pool. The curtain has been pulled back, and the industry is facing a reckoning entirely of its own making.
Channel 4's external review is going to set a major precedent for the whole entertainment sector.
Which brings us to our final thought. Something for you to mull over long after this deep dive ends. If the very foundation of reality television requires a certain level of psychological manipulation, forced isolation, and intense conflict just to keep us all watching, is it actually possible to create an ethical reality show that isn't too boring to survive?
That is the million-dollar question.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.